passed out to you tonight. Yes. On the left-hand column, you see, without making any changes from what we've reviewed thus far, what our general fund position is and will be at the end of the year if we don't make any changes, which would mean without road work, we have $138,209 projected to carry over at the end of the year. Last year, that figure was $200,000. The transportation fund balances, the park fund only balances because we moved $109,000. The water fund works out, and this figure reflects kind of some of the corrections that we made from when we were talking about the water fund. It said water and sewer at our last meeting.
This is end of year projections. What are these numbers?
If we adopted the budget as it was presented to you,
Oh, the new budget.
this is what you would have at the end of next year.
Oh.
You'd have all the
I thought this
CDs.
was carried over from this year's budget.
No.
In the general fund, you would not have used any of your CDs, and you would carry over $138,209 in cash
As of today.
at the end of next year.
I'm sorry.
We've
slowly
we've got a
catching up.
$400,000 carryover projected for the end of this year, $200,000 of which we propose to use
So there is
to cover operating
there's
expenses next year.
$138,000 available in in your proposed budget for
Next year.
Yeah.
If you want no surplus to go from the 2014 budget into the year 2015.
So if we use that $138,000, then we can expect to have nothing extra to use in 2015 for other things.
Correct.
Thank you. Sorry.
What do we have this year?
We're ending this year with about $400,000 in funds that, either because tax receipts are up a little or department heads were efficient in their operations, we didn't spend as budgeted. We got a little more revenue and some savings realized. So we had projected at the end of this year a $200,000 carry. We did better than that. And if we accept the budgets as proposed, we're going to use 262,000 of that 400,000 carryover. Is that clear? Okay. And if we use that 262,000 at the end of next year, we'll end up with $138,000 in the bank if our projections are correct. Now, our projections might prove to be low,
It's a reasonable projection.
but it's just a projection.
That's all you can ever do.
So, two things. That Steve's here tonight because we want to kind of finalize the discussion on the water and sewer budget. We can't move that money anywhere else. You just have to decide how much of it you want to spend and for what purposes, and come to a conclusion on that. What we have here is a list on the right-hand column of the items that I have identified in the budget that aren't kind of part of our core, or I've been told by department heads that they would understand and be able to operate if those items were not funded. Now, on the Welcome Center, have you made those adjustments already?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
Cross out the Welcome Center.
Well, mine's the employee. You haven't
Right.
decided that.
Keep that.
Yeah,
The 9,000, the 8,500, and the 1,000 we've already taken out.
right.
Only leave the 20,000 for
Right.
common employee.
No, you say you take it out. Is that reflected in the 138?
Yes.
Okay.
Since we were always at 138, why didn't it go up? I mean, we were always gonna spend 261, 262, and that was
Printing two
before
expenses and all.
you took this out. Why wouldn't either the 262
This
go down or
is
the
a really
138
confusing
go
way to
up?
look at this for me.
Yeah, see, to me, it's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I've never seen
I'm having a rough
I get it.
anything like it.
Me too, I agree.
Because, you know, it's hard for me to project on what's going to happen next year, and we don't even know really what's happening this year.
It's almost over.
I know, but we don't know where there's excess money, or which line items, or which departments.
And we don't really need that. I mean, that's department heads and Martin say this is how, we don't need that.
I think it'd be nice to know who's saving money.
Whoever's got money left over had a bad budget proposal the last time. Didn't say
Not
anything.
necessarily, no.
Sure it is.
Oh,
It's like if I go to a bank and I want to borrow $100,000 on a truck and I find one for 60, I save myself a lot of money.
Well, you do that for you.
I leave it in the bank.
What do you thought? Well, John, I don't think that equates. The manager is supposed to know how much he's got and how much he needs. And if there are extraordinary issues, you may end up with something left over.
in Dave's case, for instance, chemical prices went down.
Yeah.
well,
He
how about
budgeted for what he thought it was going to be, they were lower.
Yeah.
Well, how about the police department? I mean, they had 2 people out. I mean, is that salary being saved? Is that a carryover? I don't know.
Jerry
I mean,
report to us about $50,000.
Pardon me?
Didn't Eric report to us it was right around $50,000
Yes.
that he didn't spend in his available budget?
Right, is that coming from not having a full staff?
Explain that whole
Yeah.
thing to us.
I mean,
We didn't,
right.
you didn't adjust
So,
personnel.
was that bad management then?
The employees that weren't.
That's an extraordinary item.
Okay.
He would have used.
But you
it
just
if
said
we
that the manager
had
said,
it
no,
right
you
there.
shouldn't turn anything back in.
Where are we at?
This is, we're back to the whole philosophy of having a budget. Please continue and get us through this somehow so we can.
Okay, well, here was my approach. I mean, unless you want to go back and revisit the line items again, that from what you heard and what was discussed, these are the items that are on the table. If we want to carry $200,000 over, we need to take from these items over here $62,000.
What do you propose?
Well, I mean, I did that last year.
Didn't like
They
it?
didn't like it.
Okay,
The board wanted to make those decisions.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I guess, maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I'd like to know, where do we stand on the city shed? We're talking about this budget, and we might go 50 or 100,000 in debt real quick down there finishing that over our insurance.
I agree.
Well, I can't answer that. I got 62, I was gonna report this last night, I'll report it tonight. I got $62,000 check from the insurance company, based on the adjuster's preliminary, his view of the damages. That's not right. I've met with Leighton, we've talked about it. I got a letter, both things came the same day, it just came in separate letter. A letter saying, based on our adjuster's estimate, this is what we owe you. And I said, well, I'm not going to cash it. Because it looked to me that if I cashed it, I was saying that's okay. But I called Leighton, and talked, and they called the insurance company and said, no, this is just based on, the adjuster comes out and says it's going to be at least this, and they give you that money so you have some money to do things with. We have replacement cost insurance, and whatever it costs, it costs. But I can't be irresponsible about that. I mean, I have to make sure that I'm getting fair market rates for the things that we're doing. So I've got 2 bids so far for cleanup company, with another one coming in. I've got glass replacement prices. We're gonna get those prices, and we're gonna award the work to the company that gives us the best value, not necessarily the best lowest bid, because that doesn't always work out. And I'm supposed to then go through Leighton to get that information in the hands of the insurance company, and they will pay whatever we spend to bring it back to its original condition, make us whole. Now, any changes we make beyond kind of getting it back to where it was, or things maybe we're spending beyond what insurance is going to cover. But I don't know what that is at this point. And you're right, I can't know that. But I can't not make a budget. And my budget is premised on the statements that were made to me that the insurance company is obligated to fund the repair of that building up to its
Condition.
pre-fire condition.
But we're
The
definitely,
truck, we're gonna get, we're gonna get whatever
Book
the
value.
book value is of the
So we're
truck.
gonna Put money with that too.
Yeah, that we are gonna have to do.
and to bring the building up to our own city codes, we're probably gonna have to spend more money than replacement value. Is that a correct statement? or-
No, I mean, it could be, but to the point,
I'm just basing that off what Brenda and Jimmy and Dave told me.
I think we're going to upgrade the electric circuit. Is that going to cost more than trying to put it back, in a manner that is not compliant with the code? I don't, that's not necessarily.
Yeah.
You're just going to use the right wiring, and you're going to maybe spend a couple $100 extra for a 400 amp panel instead of a 200, but I don't know that it's going to be major. We got to put the right insulation back in, again.
And so replacement value is not going to cover the insulation because it was kind of,
Well,
I don't want to go back with that same insulation, right?
We're not going to go back with the same
Right.
insulation, but I don't know if the price differential, I don't know how much
Right.
cheaper it is to put the wrong insulation in. It may not be any cheaper to put the wrong insulation in, with just the wrong insulation. The unit price of that, is kind of, it's more labor than the materials. The window replacements, they got some ridiculously low figure in, and so, I just got to work through it, but I don't know that it's going to be fast. The insurance company's trying to save their money, and I'm trying to spend their money.
The only thing you have to move fast on is the windows.
The windows,
Because you're gonna have winter coming, it's nipping right at us.
yeah, I'm not going to wait for the insurance,
How are you gonna heat it if you don't have it all?
I'm not going to heat it, period. The infrared heaters are burned, and they didn't even give us anything for the infrared heaters.
So you got to battle it.
But we will secure the building, we will get it protected from the weather, we'll get everything that's burned out of it, the cleanup crew is going to clean everything, so, it'll be clean, it'll be sanitary, we'll get back in building, but not at full service. And I'm not going to, ultimately, if we have a battle, we're going to be battling over how much they have to pay us, not whether the work gets done.
Yeah.
So, that was my approach, is how much carryover do you want as a matter of policy? That's a policy decision for the board. And in order to do whatever road work off this list you'd like to do, from which of these items would you like to draw the funds? And we'll not buy a dump truck, as an example. We got $40,000 for a dump truck. We don't buy a dump truck, that's $40,000 that can go to road work.
So, explain the left-hand, right-hand column again. Is the right-hand column where, like, under general fund, $100,000? Where does that fall into the general fund over here with the circle?
Everything you cross off with the right hand goes to the general fund.
Is that 100,000 already in there, or does it need to go in there?
No, it's in the budget that was submitted to you.
Okay.
But it's not 100,000. It's 80,500, I think.
It's
Didn't we take out 3 items off of that?
Not yet.
The total requirement.
The tour and that office.
18,000.
Yes, we took that out, right, yeah.
So that 18,500 then raises it. 815.
815. So that's the requirement.
So it's already there to be spent, but this is where we draw from to get money for streets
Or
or other things.
or increasing the carryover, the projected carryover.
All right.
You want?
All right, now, let's go, take a step back, because Sue and I are just having this discussion. Those 3 items, they are all to her, but for this discussion, no, they are not all. So anything that you take off of the right side gets added to the left
Okay.
side, okay? So those 3 items, Teddy, it is $100,000. So just for this discussion, even though she has them all,
Okay.
don't confuse things, let's make those 3 items, you can already add, take them off and add them to that side, because they're off of there, but they do get added to the other side.
Now, so,
Did I confuse you more?
I got you.
I see 2 numbers. I see 138,000 that is excess, and I see a requirement for 100,000.
that's request.
But, a request. But we took off 3 items, so that means a less request.
Well, but you would add those 3 items over to that 138.
Yes.
You added on?
You would.
You would, anything that comes off the right side goes over.
Okay, so there's more money.
Yeah.
So you got 8.
That 100,000 is there.
Okay, I'm
Although
catching-
Sue's
I'm
already
starting
made
to
her-
catch on a little bit.
Yeah,
Very good.
so let's keep it, keep it so
Yeah, but,
anything you do take off gets added to the other side.
okay, which gives us more money.
That's correct.
Now, what I don't have over here, because it is whether we want to reduce benefits or eliminate personnel.
Is there a need to eliminate personnel?
Not according to the directors, it's just a way of saving money.
I'm just asking you, do we have surplus personnel in the city, employees?
I think,
That's good enough for me. I mean, you start taking people away, and you're taking services away from the citizens. If you start taking benefits away from our employees, that is not the first thing on your shopping list. That is a last-ditch effort to save funds. That's my opinion, is that you don't, that's when you're in really serious trouble. We're not in trouble. We're just having a good, healthy debate on where we find money in the budget for other things we want to do. So my vote on that is head count and benefits is off the table to me.
Well, can we
Well, I
just,
disagree with that.
my opinion would be, let's get through the whole thing and then.
Yeah, let's wait until we get to that part and discuss it.
Who can we not have? I mean,
Well, I'm not saying get rid of anybody, but I think it's something we're gonna have to discuss in the future as far as salaries and benefits.
to reduce?
No, to discuss it. Get off the reduce part.
That's
Now,
what
I don't know why you
Mark's-
keep doing
Mark's
that.
question was reducing headcount and benefits was another option.
Right,
for
and
us
you
to
said,
find
don't,
money.
no, I said, let's discuss it. It's a future discussion as far as,
we don't have too much future.
This is our chance. We're here.
Well-
We're coming down to the wire. We gotta start making some decisions and remembering what we've been told and get through this list and see what we end up with.
Well, my opinion, Tom, would be, let's get through it, see how much we can cut, and then go back, and if,
Well, that's.
I mean, that's what we've done
I don't care how
before,
many
is try to
times we go
figure out
around.
what we got.
My opinion's
in our
simple and well
pot.
thought out, so I stated it. So I'll try not to keep talking about it, just because it's a simple thing. It's a philosophy on management.
So we looking at this first section now?
Starting at the top, the right hand column, going down.
Before we do this, can we revisit the water and sewer?
Let's do it.
Step up, Steve.
We got a table for you now.
Are we just discussing the water fund on this front of this first page, or are we going back to this whole budget?
Well, I just don't know that, their budget is premised on adjusting the rates according to the schedule we adopted last year.
Okay.
We're not gonna do that, then we're gonna have to revisit it.
So let's,
The decision to not follow
We got one.
this
You
budget
know what she handed out to us?
would probably be reflected in funding our capital replacement fund. We established certain goals last year to where we wanted to be on the capital replacement fund. In order to meet our obligations under our, to the Department of Natural Resources and EPA, and to continue to be able to provide good quality water and treat our wastewater. We really shouldn't change much in terms of our operations. I mean, I think what they have proposed is consistent with all of that. So should we fail to act on the rates, what we'll basically be doing is not taking as much of a progressive step forward on getting that fund balance where kind of it should be at a minimum level. And I've chosen kind of not to revisit that whole thing again. I mean, we could if you wanted to, but you know, we had several hearings on it and made a decision. But understand that an adjustment would most likely be reflected in the funding of the equipment replacement fund.
Yeah.
Wouldn't necessarily affect day-to-day operations next year.
Well, we had planned on that, and we had planned on it going on from year to year. My recollection last year.
Yes, and we discussed the impact on the citizens, and we went through the whole thing.
What kind of projection do we use, 5 years, 8 years? What was it?
5 years.
How many? 5. That's what I thought.
And it started with a 3%.
Right. And this year is what, did you say?
There's 3%.
Oh, we're gonna do 3 every year?
Four on water.
Yeah,
5 on sewers.
yeah.
And then the third year, I thought it started going.
It starts dropping
It
now.
starts dropping in the third year.
Starts dropping in the third year.
Well, I think we already made up our minds, I feel like we did. I did from
And
last year.
that's, you know, in that case, then we can let that budget stand because it's balanced and it's funding the improvement program. And our discussion tomorrow night isn't going to change any of that. It's going to be a discussion with the engineer about how we want to proceed with water system improvements, but it won't change our budget numbers.
Right.
It's all going to be done within budget. Okay, go back, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve's happy.
go over and sit by me, I might need some help later.
Now, back to report.
Now we're back here.
So, the things in your water fund, is that all off the table now? Those items, or are they still on the table?
They were never on the table for the general. Our problem is
So-
general fund.
So what, all right,
And-
so what, this water fund, what am I seeing here?
Well, we're in that lower right-hand thing, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the
First page.
First page,
Bottom.
bottom.
Tractor loader. Water
Tractor
fund.
loaders and all of that stuff.
Right,
$450,000.
That all now is no longer part of our
That's
discussion.
what I want.
Oh,
That out.
no longer.
Unless there's something on there that you don't want to do.
Yeah, but it can't be used to help
Any other
our
way.
general fund. Right.
So the
Just
board-
It's just in the water fund.
Either you decide to spend it a different way,
Right.
or you end up with more surplus if you don't want to do
Yeah.
it. So that's,
That has to stay within that.
Few more water lines.
you know,
Yeah. But that's
Once we
something
get St.
that's what
Mary's
we're wanting to do,
Road
right?
Get that,
Yeah.
get St. Mary's Road fixed.
So we can start at the top right-hand side of the page and kind of start working through that list and having
Yes,
discussions.
right.
Okay.
I mean, one of the things we, I think, discussed pretty clearly was whether we wanted to spend $28,400, improve landscaping at the Main Street restaurant. I mean, when you're kind of trying to figure out how to fix roads, you know, what are your priorities?
I think as much chest beating goes on about we need streets, that's $28,000
Yeah.
for streets.
I agree.
And I don't like taking anything away from the parks, but if you're gonna do streets, something's gotta come from a lot of places. And that's a big chunk right there. I mean, I'm seeing a couple of projects, at least one project, two projects that were totally fine.
I think it's very attractive as it is now. I know the sidewalk along the street there on that south side would be nice, but
Well,
it's pretty nice.
They haven't achieved the overall plan goals that
Right.
were, you know, but, you know, the question that, do you leave Point Base the way it is so that you can put a sidewalk in? Probably not.
I guess the main thing is the top part, as far as what money we have and what we're gonna spend part of it on, and part on roads.
Well, I think the top two.
Well, I thought the transportation fund, I mean, we got, what, 42,000, I mean, that has to stay in the transportation fund, right? So that, I mean, that can be used over on some of their requests.
You skipped up off topic.
Huh?
You skipped up off topic, you're talking about parking. That-
We just wanted to get that,
Oh, I thought
getting
we
that one
said-
out of the way, I think.
I thought we
You
said,
want to get that.
Well, here's the,
I thought we said
you
that.
can buy a dump truck. You can't spend that money in the police department.
Right.
Well, I know.
But you don't have to buy a dump truck, you can fix a street.
With the transportation.
Yeah. So anything you use there, you have to use for transportation.
Okay.
But that's really what we're talking about, is how to get some street work done.
We got to start somewhere and stay on task for another issue.
Right.
So, I don't know, are we in agreement that the 28.4 for parks
I think-
is something we need to,
How do you think about that?
on the bottom?
Streets.
I mean, there's no,
I think we should eliminate that. Put it back in.
I mean, it's kind of, looks like it's kind of consensus.
I think it's a good
So it's
something.
fine with me to move that to the streets
Yeah,
on the
good.
I think that's a good idea.
So where's,
Now, Dave came in here and said, you know, this is not wish list,
right.
but, you know, I
Well,
understand.
it's subsidized.
He expressed that the salt spreader and the pickup truck were probably his highest priorities.
Mhm.
Did we move that 28?
Yeah, you just did that.
To the left, okay.
Can we move it up here to the top?
Or transportation.
Right, Sue?
Yeah, to the,
It goes to the general fund.
Yeah,
To the
up
general.
here.
28.4?
it'll go on to the 138,209.
I already put 18.5 there, is that right?
Well, that was just a little counting situation.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
You had the 18.5 up there.
Yeah.
Right.
You added
Not
Yeah.
28.4.
Oh, yeah, right.
You had 18.5 and you had 28.4
Yeah.
to the
Let's take
138.
these three.
Up to
Right.
180.
I got 185.
So,
Now you're up to transportation fund?
we're still in this transportation area where we had $85,000 in expenditures that either from Dave's comments or our comments, you know, we thought some of that could be put on.
What about 20 grand for mosquito?
Oh, yeah, we kind of talked about that
Yeah,
in
he-
one meeting there,
I'm
that
happy to take that off
I
right
think
off
so.
the top. I mean, that gets a lot of people irritated, nobody knows how good it's
We're
doing.
Let's
not
try
even
it.
sure the money that we're throwing to that is doing it.
Yeah,
We don't do the test, so we don't
Dave
know.
said that too. He says it's not being done right. He said that.
twice a week.
Can we move that over to
Right.
the top left?
I agree with that.
Okay with
No.
that?
Where is it? That one's good.
That would go over to transportation,
transportation.
onto the
So we can put it-
40,000.
Oh, I got
Oh,
you.
underneath 42?
But since we're heading to the streets anyway, we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
Right.
that's good. 42. Okay.
Dave was pretty focused on his salt spreaders falling apart. That's something we need to leave alone.
We
need
I
need
looked at
that.
it, they're paper thin, I mean, that's,
Take that one off the table for discussion, right?
Yeah, we need that. And a pickup too.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah, he said he definitely would like to pick
kind of dump
up
truck,
spreaders.
an older one.
We've got two operating dump trucks. They're all over.
Would 40,000 be a replacement truck or an additional truck?
The additional used dump.
We used to have, what, 3 or 4, didn't we?
Well, I've only had three since I've been here, and only
And one of them non.
two have been in service in the last 2.5
So
years.
one's too far gone. I
Long
think we
was
said.
thinking about that.
We might be better off leaving the pickup, we might need that 10, put with the other pickup, buy a pickup.
Yeah, we need to pick
I
up.
think we'll leave the pickup in there.
I agree with John.
Salt spreader.
The pickup and the spreader, I think, are the most important items.
So John, you saying take that 40 down to 10,
No,
because you're gonna need it on the other
No.
pickup?
No.
Let's leave that 10 in that
10 in
pickup.
there.
Put it with the money you're gonna get from the other pickup.
We're leaving the
I think you
pickup
need
and the salt spreader.
To replace the pickup that
Well,
was burned.
We weren't talking about that, this wasn't in there in the beginning, he just wanted a pickup.
Right, you wanted to use pickup.
Yeah. And so we might be better off leaving that, we don't have to buy 2 pickups, we were only gonna buy 1, now you're talking about 2.
Right.
We might just go back to 1.
Well, when we
Might
get
have to.
insurance for that pickup?
Well,
Insurance is gonna give us some money, I don't know.
Not much, not enough to go out and buy one.
You're gonna have to add to it.
Should we add a little bit to?
Well, it'd be enough, presumably, it'd be enough to go out and buy a 2002 pickup,
Yeah,
assuming they
to
give us.
replace it.
Yeah.
But fine with 1.
Well, I don't know what it is.
When you've got that plus this 10,000, that gives you some options to buy either 2 or buy a better one. So the 10 for the pickup is safe, the salt spreader sounds safe, but really the only thing left in that column would be the dump truck.
Now,
And the need for the dump truck.
Now, didn't Dave say it has to be one with a snowplow on it though?
Yeah.
The pickup?
The new, we wanted the new pickup, I mean,
Yeah,
We don't.
I thought that's what he said.
Take all the snowplow stuff off the old pickup.
but it's still, you need to get the hydraulics and the battery, you gotta have a second battery.
But I don't think he wanted that on this other one, did he?
No,
We gotta keep that in mind, that it's gonna have to have that capability.
Yeah, the one truck pickup, definitely.
Has to have, yeah.
But again, presumably, that,
You know, there's
the
some,
value of those things will be reflected in our insurance, so.
Yes.
and a little hidden savings if we're not spraying for mosquitoes is 4 hours a week overtime.
Yeah.
Those, I mean, there's a little cost savings there too.
On the wear and tear on your equipment
Yeah.
too, and you don't need that spread.
Hard to quantify that, but it is in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's carry over at Porter Street, that's going to be done.
Porter Street's gonna be finished, I'm not convinced, I told them I wanted it to be finished before the end of the fiscal year, because of the progress that's being made with utility relocations and things, I'm not convinced that's gonna happen, so we're just showing that it may be carried over. Now, if they finish it, as I hope they will, then we'll spend it out of this year's budget, otherwise we gotta carry it over.
So really, we're back to the dump truck. The only thing left in that column,
Right.
and it's an additional unit. I mean, he's not serving me too well about what they had to say about that.
It wasn't his top 2 priorities.
Yeah, I mean, it's, he can- he's able to get along with this.
The pickup and the salt spreader was his 2
Right.
biggest needs.
So do we need to buy a pickup truck, or we want to take another $40,000 off the street list?
Or do we want to cut it in half?
Or excuse the dump truck? The
I'm-
dump
I'm
truck.
Is that a new
Cut it
one?
in half.
What kind of
Is that a new
$20,000?
one?
You know, when I do it for
Let's
far.
see, that's a,
I
that's
know,
a.
I didn't do no research.
And for 20, you won't get much.
I
of
know.
that.
You mean a dump truck?
Yeah, you're not gonna-
No, this is based on our observation of what used dump trucks are doing from cities that do a 2-year replacement. So Kirkwood, Webster, their trucks are always, every year, they've got a truck on the market.
The county has, I borrowed.
Did they pay for that
I mean,
7
that's,
grand?
yeah,
Hmm?
$7.
7,000?
Or dump
That
truck.
was cheap. For what?
I borrowed the county.
Just sold
What, what,
They're probably both
7,000.
already.
I don't know.
for a
7,000?
dump truck.
So really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we
The
get
county
counties.
And they had a
traded
snow
it.
blade
It's not
and a
a-
spreader.
Yeah, we had everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
well,
totally
yeah, they're
packaged
all-
up.
We're sitting on the back.
Yep.
There's,
Did you look at it?
Yeah, stop and look at
How many
it.
miles?
They're for sale now.
Well, it had 7,000.
something like that.
Oh, really?
I think it wasn't seven.
That's what they paid, wasn't it?
No, it was mileage.
So-
70.
Oh, the,
70,000.
70 something.
oh, the mileage, oh, I thought you were talking about.
I mean, I'm not an expert on that, but I just love it. Nice.
They look
Especially
good,
for that.
yeah.
Something to check into.
too much not talking with a dump truck when you make a decision on a dump truck.
We need a pickup.
Well,
We got the pickup thing covered.
yeah, but
Well, we need a little more money, didn't you think?
No,
Or
the
what?
10 here plus the insurance money.
Oh, we think we'll be good?
yeah, but that's only getting in one truck, right?
They won't be getting an additional.
I thought he was wanting another pickup besides the one that burned up.
How many pickups you got?
Before we had to,
We had 3.
Before we had the fire,
Now we
we
have
wanted
2.
the pickup truck.
How many
Now we need
employees in that
2.
department?
All right?
How many employees in that department? Full-time? 4. So, we're replacing one, now we're back to 3, and that would give everybody a pickup truck to drive, if we had 4.
well, they got that little old Ford which ain't much,
That's quite
half ton, it's just for the, they use that.
They use for the weed, the
Yeah.
weed eater guys to use in the summer, it's to really,
Well, I think
we
some
want
of
to take it too far.
isn't some of the pickups, aren't they all set up to do something? So, see, they have to use it, they don't have to take all the stuff off and
At
use it for
times.
something else. Right.
Well, yeah,
And
you
I
know,
think that's the reason you want just a cheap pickup, is to,
Yeah, and his
you
argument
pick up
was that it'd be
limbs
more
and
efficient in
move
terms of
stuff
fuel
around.
usage and, you
We've
know.
already decided to leave that in.
right, that's what I'm saying.
So,
But I don't know there's enough money to
That-
replace the other pickup
Yeah.
that burned up.
Martin says we're gonna get replacement value of that pickup.
Yeah, who knows?
Is that right? I thought it was just the
No,
building.
so
No, the auto, we're gonna get the depreciated.
Replacement value at market price for that. vehicle.
Right, okay.
So that's our question, if you want to take some of the dump truck money
Mhm.
and add so we get better than a 10-year-old pickup truck.
If you left $10,000 of the dump truck money in there, you might have enough to do so. And then you'd have $30,000, which
That's
would
what I'm-
fund one of these road
That's
replacement
what
Yeah,
I'm
projects.
saying.
right, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay.
I need a little
I
more.
like the way you're-
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Let's do
Leave
that.
10,000 in there and
Yeah.
move 30 over?
How you told John? 20? That's 10,000 off the street, so whatever you think, but I'm gonna go with whatever
I don't know, I just-
you advise on the truck thing.
I don't know, I think with what he gets from the insurance plus the 10,000 and the 10,000. I think what he gets from the insurance plus the 20,000 for a, for a pickup truck buy, I think he could do it.
Next time you say we need streets, just remember that's 10,000 less, just let them have it.
I know, John.
I have a problem with this. This street department has been looked over for so many years. We got all these brand-new patrol cars out here.
Not here or there.
Out there. And I mean, it's just, we need to start taking a long, hard look at our street department. They've been overlooked for too many years.
I'm okay.
I think we voiced that quite well.
They're out there 365 days a
If
year.
we're ripping and tearing to find street
All
money.
right, so what do you think,
Ripping
John?
and tearing to find street money, how serious are you
Move
about
30 over and leave 10? Can you go with that?
I usually want to leave 20.
I want to leave 20, but
I don't know.
I'll go with whatever.
I can do 10.
I think your
Did you
budget
say
can be...
7 out of always with a snowplow?
That's what they gave for, that's immaterial routes. I just think
You
that
don't- you won't
you can
get
come
paid for
close
that.
to, I think you can come close to a dump truck in the 20s.
Well, I think there probably are dump trucks out there for that.
We'll take
Or,
20 out, of
Yeah.
the dump, 20 off the dump truck and move it over.
Okay, so John,
The other thing, John, you look at
John
is-
wants 20 left in there and 20 moved.
If you couldn't do it right at the, not saying you gotta do it in September, maybe you look
Put
at,
that
if
20
things
and put
start
some more
going
with
good,
it,
maybe
yeah.
we could put some more with it later on in the
Right.
year and get.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're doing a good thing there. We're saving-
Okay, John, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm looking out for Dave and his men trying to...
I know,
So that
but,
gets us on the transportation fund. We've added to the left column $40,000.
we got
Right.
82,000.
82 and the next one. $5.
Yep.
Okay, and going back up to the top, you're only, right now, you're what, $10,000 short of being to the 200,000 reserve, is that about right?
20,000.
Changes we just made.
We need 45,000.
So we haven't started on the top general fund column.
Yeah.
Started at 7 to go down the west.
162 and 28.
What do we do on the car?
And we haven't even started much up on the
No,
top.
we haven't done there yet.
You're gonna-
185, 185.
Okay. We're 185 right now.
Yeah.
185, 109 or something.
And then 82 on the transportation.
Okay.
So we ready to move up to legislative, start at Channel 7 and travel. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I think we've done everything else. This box is the only one left.
Okay. Channel 7's asking for 23,000. Is that over what they normally
What-
get?
what-
or
That's what we
what's
gave
the
them.
deal? I'm not
Are
sure.
there any paid
Huh?
employees at Channel 7?
It's the same?
Don's the only one.
Is that the same? We gave $8,000 as extra money to 7.
Well, that was from that,
No,
Money we
last
get every year.
Who
year,
represents this budget? Who we talked to about that budget? Martin?
Yeah, what was last year?
Well,
It was 23.
it
is
was,
that including the 8,000 we gave?
Yes, that's in.
John sits on the board.
But that's not-
Linda's
that's
the
not,
legislative liaison.
A recurring thing. That was only a one-time
Is
deal.
it just a?
It's a board.
The board
Yeah.
manages this budget? So what can you cut? I mean, we asked every director, what can you cut? If we ask you what you can cut, what can you cut?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, last year, we gave them 8,000.
Did that make
But that was-
That made
$23,000?
it 23,000. That was a one-time
So
deal.
now you're,
well, but that was with
Is that right?
charters deal.
8,000.
You people made a ton of money every year on the
Okay.
charter.
You know, we
Can you give
discussed
us
that
the
every
figure?
year, but
Can you give us the figure that comes in through the charter subscribers? How much the city gets from charter subscribers? That's where,
well, I mean, I'm just saying, we challenged every department, so we gotta challenge you guys too.
honest to God, I don't remember what
That, you know, all but one of our department heads said that.
I know.
And we're working on it
You've
right
heard
now.
it.
I know, I heard it.
We're growing and we're just gonna
It's like
have
right
to
at
cut some things out.
22,000.
Pardon me?
How much?
22,000,
By
the franchise
the
fee.
franchise.
Tom,
Yes.
you weren't here when we catalyzed discussions, but every utility and the cable television company charge their customers to compensate the city for the use of the city's rights of way and, you know, and for charter, it was done under a franchise directly with the city.
Yeah.
And then they changed that. And the state said, okay, it can be a statewide franchise. And so the money no longer comes straight from charter, you know, to the city. Everybody's kind of subscribing to this statewide franchise. And some elements of our agreement with charter just kind of went away. But the 798 board came here and said, you know, it's the charter subscribers who generate this revenue, and it is the charter subscribers who consume the 798 product. So shouldn't that money go to support the local television station?
Wasn't that a deal made between the city of St. Genevieve and Charter Cable before Channel 7 and 98 was even conceived? I believe it was.
Well, I wasn't here then, that sounds like the right to me.
I think that what our agreement was that we'd have a TV
Yes,
station.
yes, part of your franchise agreement with them was that.
Oh, I thought the city had a choice, because we don't get a schedule, we get 798. But the city made the choice to have a public TV station,
See, I thought it was.
instead of just your
I
regular.
wasn't here, but I did negotiate cable deals in other cities.
You gotta give up one or
Actually,
the
there
other.
was only.
And that was a common requirement of the cable companies, was to support the public access television station in the community where they were getting their franchises.
Right, we had that choice.
You pay for charter for both stations, 7 and 98?
The fee.
We gave up
Yeah, that really, I don't think.
The show
has to
schedule.
do with it.
There's no cost to
No,
the one
no.
channel.
I'm not sure about that, but I don't.
But as
No,
with
that's just in addition to what.
AT&T or
Yes, we just extended.
Missouri Natural Gas or Citizens Electric, those fees go into the general fund.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's just a question of,
they come in from charter, go into the general
So
fund.
that's the difference, is 798 thinks they should get all that money, it belongs to them. The city says, no, just like any other fee we collect. It's ours, and then we divvy out from that. So that's where,
So you're looking for 23,000, 25,500 as a budget?
well, not the travel.
The travel is different.
That's somebody else.
I thought, what the heck?
No, I don't have any idea what that is.
$23,000.
That's money that's put in the budget for you guys to go places.
What can you,
For us to.
We never gone to place.
what can you do to bring a cost reduction? We drilled every department head.
How much do we get from that franchise a year?
This year we got 22,000.
So we only got.
So we're getting less.
We got a little, we got.
That's the city's utility.
That's our part. That's our fee.
Am I saying that
Because
right?
the PEG access fee went away. We used to get-
Right.
They had a PEG access fee.
PEG access
I
fee.
understand.
Okay.
I
You
understand.
do know about the PEG access fee?
Enough, all I need to know
This
is
is-
that $23,000,
This
what do you do?
this money is used for us to keep, stay on the air, period.
I think it's fantastic, but I mean, like every other department, I think they're fantastic
If we lost
too,
that,
but-
we lose the station, period,
So that's how you got an
Okay.
$8,000 infusion last year that Teddy's talking
yeah,
about.
to help us stay on the air.
Along with that money, when we gave that $8,000, there was some talk about some stipulations as far as you guys are gonna be self-sufficient.
That's basically what the board
So
asked.
where are we there? Because last year you told me, you pretty well thought that you'd be taking less money this year and you'd be more
We
self-sufficient.
thought we'd be more self-sufficient. Well, we have done an awful lot of things down there, and I think we've done fundraisers and all kinds of things to help us stay on top of our broken equipment. Is what it amounted to. So every little dime that we've come up with has gone into fixing, repairing, and trying to keep us up to speed. And all the work and stuff we see down there has all been volunteer. It's all volunteer.
I understand that, but I guess I have an issue is that we agreed upon giving this money to 798 with stipulations and nothing's happened. You know, but nothing has changed. You still want the same money.
Well, you know, my only argument to that is, we all are employed elsewhere. We don't have time to go out and do all these fundraisers. We help a lot
So
with
is
the
the fire
Lions Club.
department. You said they should do bake sales to fix their windows, John.
But the Lions Club, they don't ever give us a donation. Why do they want us to video this, video that, everybody wants us to
Who did the Lions Club ask you to video?
Who requests
We're
that?
going to.
Well, I need to know who requests that so we can follow up on our.
It's coming right down the road, because I said, we gotta start going after all of these different entities that use
You've got to
us.
generate revenue streams.
But there's no revenue coming in at
Through
798.
advertising and through those groups that want to use it to promote their group.
That's what I mean. I mean, all you're doing is sucking more out of the city. There's no revenue.
Yeah, we've had all
Pardon me?
sorts of things.
But we bought equipment, we bought it.
Bake sales,
But for the purpose of the budget.
I know John likes bake sales, but it doesn't generate much.
When our department head said, we can't cut anything. Well, I bet you can. So is there, is there anything?
I'm willing to cut
I'm not
some.
asking,
No, I know.
I'm not asking you to cut a dime. I'm just trying to go through the process. What, if there is, how would your services suffer if you gave it up? That's what we asked for the street department, the parks department.
Sure.
So-
This money that you see here is used for salary. That's what it's used for.
That's the biggest catch.
That's it.
How many
Don
subscribers?
Fitcher's salary.
To keep it afloat.
I ask
How much
this
is the
every year, and
salary?
I've never really got an answer to it, or I did last year. How many subscribers does Charter have?
That changes.
You did
I think that's a little unfair way to look at it.
Well, that's what I'm
That's who
saying
pays
too,
for it.
because I think direct
We're on the internet
and
now.
and Dish customers in this town ought to get a little shot of this money if we're going with it.
Well,
How are you going to give them money? You send them a check?
Well, I think we ought to give by subscriber.
The
They have nothing to
amount,
do with it.
I mean, if you're giving tax dollars away, I want my cut, just because I don't have Charter.
No, I.
so if you don't have kids in school, you're going to quit paying your taxes?
I can't do that, and I will pay
They would like
those
to.
taxes. It's
We're now on the internet with this.
All over.
This is different
This is
now than what it
big.
was.
Well, then it ought to
It
be
used
cheaper to operate than last year.
Why?
How would it be
Well,
cheaper?
why wouldn't it be if you
We're
shut
actually
down?
doing-
Every
we're
day,
doing-
you
we're
still have
doing
to
more
create
stuff.
content to put on the internet.
I just think that you're screwing over a bunch of the taxpayers in this town, because the majority of taxpayers in this town do not have charter.
There's more
Okay,
to it than
Yeah,
that.
there's
they
more,
can
it's
use the
it's on the
internet.
internet.
Well,
It's
right.
not
Yeah.
just charter. You're right, it used to be that way.
By this time
Just
tomorrow,
charter
this meeting will
subscribers.
be on St. Gen
Yeah,
TV,
internet.
on YouTube again.
Yeah.
Then they'll hear that they're screwing over the public by doing it.
Well, you know,
I guess the
I just
question.
don't like that.
It used to be, yeah, I understand, you would take this amount of money and you'd say there's only 300 and something subscribers.
There's other places I can look
They'd
on the
only see it.
internet,
That
too.
is not the
Well,
case.
I know that. I don't
You know,
agree with
that's
that.
not the case.
Okay.
At all.
So are you telling us if we reduce that
It's
budget, it would go away?
Well,
We wouldn't be able to
The
pay
thing
anybody
is,
to take care of it.
what happens if there's less subscribers and that money goes down? Because
Then
less
cuts will
people,
have to be made.
you know, there's, now it's going down all the time.
I think that,
So you gotta get some revenue someplace.
well, I think that we're, you know, this is a huge discussion to try to have in such a small little piece of time. But what the content going on St. Gen TV YouTube account affects tourism. It affects all the various groups in town that things are being videoed on. It's a service to the public. If somebody wants to see a landmarks meeting, an Alderrnen meeting, or any of the other variety of content that they have internet access, they don't have to have cable TV. It's out there. And it affects tourism too, I think. If you type in to YouTube, St. Genevieve, Missouri, that's going to be one of the things that pops up, and you can start looking at some of these things.
It's-
I agree, they could be out there videotaping the new road going in, you know, put it on TV. But the thing is, people want roads, they want streets. And majority of the people in this town don't have charter and probably don't even look on the internet on a lot of things.
Well, people
I
of
think it's
certain
great you're on
Yeah,
internet,
certainly.
you know, and you guys are
People
doing a
that
good
of that
job
age
there.
Have charter.
But
Other people on the
I think if you asked them, what would they rather have?
Some of them have both.
I think it'd be streets and roads, good roads.
So you want to
good
do
streets.
a
So they
Channel
don't,
798?
you don't want
for
us
all
to video the
streets?
football games and the...
No, there you go again.
No, I'm asking
I
a
didn't-
question.
Okay.
That's what I thought you just said.
No, I don't think we're gonna do away with it. You keep asking what can they cut? They haven't come up with an idea yet.
Linda just said that if they cut anything, it will impact the salary that will basically dissolve their ability to continue to do what they do.
So this whole 798 is based on one person.
One
If
page
he
employee.
doesn't get his money, then it's
One page
dissolved.
employee.
I don't think
He's
that's
gonna run the
right.
station.
You didn't want to
That's
hear,
done.
you didn't want to hear about the PEG access fee. However, year before last, the PEG access fees were cut out by the state. They took it away by a legal maneuver. And that's where that money's going, I believe. They're collecting it somehow, the state of Missouri, the PEG access fees. Channel 798 ran that year without any money, without PEG access fee or any money from the city. Then they asked for, I think it was 22,000, 14,000 last year,
No, 23. It was the same,
same.
same as this.
And you received, the board received, who's treasurer? Sue?
So,
She received 8,000. And so you owe money because you didn't get enough money last year. And what about the year before? But you survived the year before without that PEG access fee. We gave you 8, and the understanding around this board was that that we would help you stay alive one more year, but you had to come up with some effort, had to come up with some way to be profitable. And I don't know what to do, charge more for your advertisement, I don't know.
Well, legally, we can't, there's a lot of legalities on it too, we can't charge. We can accept donations,
Donation,
but
we
we
can't charge.
can't charge. So we're begging for donations all the time, and donations
We
is
rock the
what
hard
keeps
side.
our
You
equipment.
are.
Keeps us-
And your donations probably come from
From people-
subscribers.
Right.
So,
We have-
there are many
So what do we want to do?
For
here?
instance,
Let's-
I don't think we should exceed what we bring in.
Fair enough on that.
22,000 is what we brought in. You guys said you deserve all that. It shouldn't be 23, 22,000. You know, we're not gonna subsidize additional money out of general fund for
It was
this.
quite
It
a
was
bit
like
more than that.
26,000.
Sometimes it was up to 26, 27.
What was it?
It was
When we were getting
26,000,
15 for
and
years.
then it was like 27,000, and then it dropped back to, like in 10, it was 26,000, 11, it was 26,600.
And in those years, we were getting 15,000 from the city.
Right, and then it was
Last year was the first
27,000
year.
in 12, and this year it
That
dropped
was
down to
big access
22.
fee though, right?
No, no.
And it'll probably drop some more.
Yeah, it's going.
It was a
People
smaller fee that was
are getting tired of charging.
4,000.
Well, they can get it on the internet.
That's-
Yeah, they can get it on the
That's the only
internet.
reason why they had charge.
I know, but the funds come from charging.
Oh, no,
The
no,
more they
that's
drop
right.
it, the less
Right,
funds.
right, right. Sure.
So, my recommendation is,
We're getting that.
22,000. Sue says that's what we get in the fees, and
So is this ongoing year after year after year now?
Well, we'll have to discuss it again next.
What if there's four
discuss it every year.
subscribers?
Well, I think it needs to be
You're
looked at again.
Well, you
really
look at
missing the point on having information generated and funded by the city to be generated, to be available through video content, whether it's on cable or on the internet.
These shut-in people, it's a great program for them. They can watch
Yeah, oh,
parades
yeah.
and stuff that
Jackie, high school
they,
kids volunteering?
Nursing homes.
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
A lot of
we have
volunteers.
a young group. And they have bake sales. They have had their own bake sales to buy their own equipment. These kids did.
Yep.
They went out and had their own, we all helped, of
Yeah,
course.
I'd agree with that. Go with 22, just.
And
I could go with
every
that.
penny was spent on equipment.
I know what you're saying, Carl, but
Probably,
22
I just think it's a
split between
valuable
all.
service. Or if you want
I
to
agree.
get tough, if you want to get tough and you really want streets, there's some money for you.
where?
Because what I'm gonna do for the whole next year is when I hear somebody beating their chest saying we need streets, I'm gonna say, hey, you had a chance to get some street money.
And right here's some of it.
Now, I agree that this is really important, but we gotta curb ourselves of this chest beating, we need streets business when we're not willing to make really tough decisions to get them.
I thought we were.
I think that's pretty tough.
I think that's pretty,
I don't think we got too tough yet. This one would be that tough one. You know, I agree at 22, I'm happy there.
What,
are you happy with 22?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy.
What did Sandra Cabot ask for,
Let's get
what
this.
she believes would be a new employee?
Bug's happy.
Taking her part-time to full-time.
Yes.
But
Add 1,000.
she did
I mean, as long as these
adjust
two.
all the rest of her budget.
Yeah.
I'd say
In order to
there,
accomplish that.
I'd say there's more income for the city there than there is here.
There is no income to the city, Channel 7.
No.
No,
Well, we cut her off, is the last I heard.
It's,
Cut who off?
Tourism director.
Well, you
No,
cut her
you
off.
accepted her proposal that she would find that money in all the other line items in order to maintain that, and she did that.
Yeah.
But
And that's that printing.
that's
for-
profitable for this town, tourism. It's about all we got left.
I think it's an investment, I don't know how profitable it is.
Well, I see it as an investment to be profitable.
Where does this travel?
That's money that we budget every year that never gets used.
Well,
well, as far as I know, Bud's in agreement, John, you in agreement?
We decided
Take
on
the
22.
travel out?
No, no,
22 sounds good.
22,000 for Channel 798.
Yes,
So we
I know.
Want me to
moved
bring that?
$1,000 over to general fund.
Okay,
And
that's
that-
$1,000.
So these guys are-
The MML,
The
we're not gonna go to
MML.
MML.
25 grand,
For travel.
2,500 travel.
put that over there.
That'll be next year.
Hey,
What's that 2,500
No,
for travel?
That's for the board and travel share.
And
Oh, never mind.
I only travel.
Didn't use it last year.
How-
oh, they,
I'd love to go to those meetings, but it's, I can't.
How much we spend in MML, what is it?
Yeah.
yeah, those,
I just soon cut it all out.
let's cut it out.
Let's move
Keep
it
it
on.
on.
We don't need to go anyplace,
It's already budgeted.
except camping.
Well, the MML trip.
Okay, what's this
Now,
2,500?
well, I didn't know, it was, I thought MML was gonna come out of this year.
Will we get that in kind of paper? September 15th.
Well, if you don't, you'll carry over what you can spend. So
Sure.
it all works out.
So can we cut that?
Huh?
2,500?
Move it
It's
over?
not going to Missouri Municipal League next year.
That's fine.
Okay.
Let's move it
So
over
you
there.
Move it over.
General fund.
2,500.
We don't need to go.
Or if you want to go, you have to pay for it yourself.
There you go.
It's a,
Yeah.
If it's important, you would do it.
Legal and travel is out of the administrative fund, under which Pam and Sue and I operate. We've done a good job of not using too many legal services, and I think we can continue to do that next year.
Okay.
So that $3,000, which is kind of the level that I think we can achieve that same economy next year.
so,
Can you cut that in half, you think? Maybe
Cut what in half?
1,500 for legal?
it's 3,000.
Well, that's not the total legal expense, that's just what I think we can save over the level that
We can shift that over and everything. It's
I know you're down to the bare bone.
Well, every time you pick up the phone and you call the attorney, you get a bill. So I just don't pick up the phone, huh?
I don't understand why you don't use MML.
I do.
More than you.
They won't give you legal opinions. They won't.
They would accept that liability.
Right.
So you're saying the 3,000 is a bottom number? that-
You can move that over?
That's-
You said
Okay,
it's available.
that's 3,000
It's
less.
available to move over.
It's available to move
The whole
over?
thing, 3,000.
I'm pulling my shoulder.
$3,000, that's.
I still have a budget for legal expenses.
Okay.
It's just $3,000 less than was originally proposed.
Oh, okay.
I'll try.
Travel, that's.
Same thing.
Do it again.
A little money in there for me to go to meetings and stuff, but I
You
took
don't-
$1,000 out of it because
We're giving up. Dave.
I don't go very often to places where it costs money to go.
We're gonna start fixing streets.
What's Comdell?
That's community and economic, it's the Chamber of Commerce. We are members of Chamber of Commerce and we pay our membership fee. In addition to that, for years, the city has been giving the Chamber $500 a month for economic development. Last year, the Chamber came before us and said, and I will speak for them, that Chamber is traditionally the first point of contact for someone who's interested in coming to your community, and and then the city gets involved when it's appropriate for the city to get involved. And they considered that $500 contribution towards maintaining the ability to respond to business and industry that inquires about the city.
So, why do you feel like you can stop paying that?
Because, and it's not a question of whether I think I can stop paying it. It's a policy
it's on the
decision
list.
whether you want to pay that or put it towards street improvements.
So, I apologize.
What about that, Mayor?
Oh, that's
I mean,
a tough one.
you guys really see it,
Yeah.
the value of it.
Certainly, most of that, if not all of it, probably goes towards salary also. And I guess you could relate it somewhat to Channel 7 is is something going to suffer if you don't do that? I don't know. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to do would be, and even with the addition of Sandra, with some of the experience that she had, would get her in some, not the heavy economic development, but certainly downtown development as she got more comfortable in her job. Most of, I guess, the inquiries that the chamber gets is not those, most of them is not those kinds of inquiries. And we've had to have certainly some that have started there this year. The phone calls did come into the chamber and did come back to us, and we got involved in it. That's a tough one for her, right?
I mean, they're all tough for me. I'm not sure how much tougher one is than another.
No, the chamber's not just floating with cash.
That's right.
You know, I mean, $6,000 contribution to the local chamber of commerce, as we look at the other industry that participate in businesses, that participate with the chamber, greater than just their annual dues. I think that's pretty important money to the chamber. I think that's really important.
How do we align with other, like, how much does the county put it in, they put in $500 a month too.
I don't know.
Well, I know they're giving them the building, I don't know what more, I don't know how much.
Okay.
Utility, I don't know if they cover utilities and maintenance.
And they might be, I don't know what they do, you know, the county, I have no idea.
I do recall that, this originally got set up when there was a full-time economic development professional who was housed in the chamber. And when that position was vacated, the position continued to give them economic development.
I think the chamber
I mean,
works on a pretty,
Yeah, when there was a
No,
economic
it has to step
development,
it works on a no-frills budget itself.
I know.
When there was a when there was a director, we were paying 27,000, something like that.
Yeah, we
County
paid a
was
lot of
paying-
money.
We were paying a third, the county was paying a third, and the IDC was paying a third of that person's salary at that time. And when that salary went away, we dropped down to this or somewhere in that neighborhood.
I think we should, as a city, government, continue to support the chamber at that level.
Okay. I like it.
Okay, we did Welcome Center already, so we're over to the police department.
Is there an opportunity that we're ever going to get the full staff? We need another car replaced, or do we have an opportunity to reduce one staff member there since we haven't had one? I mean, what's the general feel for how much
Eric
service
expressed
has
to you his feelings about the police department. I mean, he felt that we should have 2 officers on the road at all time, and if he ended up with, less than 10 officers, he would not be able to do that without losing, the supervisor becoming an officer. What level of service do you want?
Well,
I just I'll just throw this out there, I'll just say it. I think the car ought to go, the cameras ought to go, and I think we could do without one, I think we can do without one less person.
Without,
I mean, how much have we suffered, for quite some time, we've been down 1.5 to 2 people?
I think that's hard to say, and it's unfair, because I think
Yeah.
probably Eric and Jason probably been covering that, and that's not fair to them to say you've got to continue this the rest of your life to
Yeah, you
cover that.
gotta work
I think they got to schedule it.
16-hour days.
I think they got to change the way they schedule it.
they're all, I think they're all paying working extra, ain't they, overtime?
Well, they can work regular shifts, but, you know this, and I think everybody knows this, that you can distract the management for only so long before it begins to destroy the department. But for short periods of time, the chief and the assistant chief can take regular shifts and, not be doing their other duties, and you won't see it. But over time, it starts to erode the quality of the department.
Well, I would be in favor of leaving those items in there. I don't understand enough about cameras other than to know there would be pluses if it protected an officer from, false charges, or if it protected a citizen if an officer was out of line.
Goes both ways.
I remember Eric's discussion about that. I can see taking them both out. I can see leaving them both alone. I can't see lessening either one of them. I think they're either in or they're out.
Are these the cameras that go in the car to video, the stop,
Yeah,
and
we've
everything?
got
Are these the
these
ones that?
The older cameras, I forget the number, but the ones we have, they're not working. The company's got financial problems, and we aren't getting replacement parts, and it looks like they're not going to be in business maybe next year.
Software issues.
And so he was just looking to go with the more reliable.
And this is who the county uses, is that part of his discussion?
Yeah, and this is the one that he thought we might be able to get through the prosecutor's office, some of that paid for with grant. We don't know, and it won't be the whole thing, but it could be some.
Do we have to buy the car this year, or can we keep the cars more than 2 years?
We can keep the car more than 2 years.
So this might be a replacement for next year.
Of course, it'll all kind of be,
Just cut both of them and let them get a grant.
I don't know, the cameras, I can understand the cameras.
Well, but they
I
get a
think
grant for
need-
that.
And they might
Get a grant.
well, they might be a partial grant. Eric's always turned money back in.
What if, maybe, I know you said all or nothing, but what if we only did cameras in a few of the cars?
Cameras and that.
Well, maybe we did, maybe we,
No car, just the cameras or?
No car this year.
Instead of replacing them all.
instead of replacing them all,
Let's replace
I think it's a
4 or 6.
crapshoot if you got the right car with the right camera at the right time, but maybe you don't do them. Maybe you only do half of them.
What are you saying, cut a car in half of the cameras?
Well, they'd be like half of that in there.
And I
And they
think
got a grant.
with the, and if they didn't.
Take
get
a
the
chance
grant-
on that?
If they didn't get the grant, Eric can come back forward, and we can try to do something.
We can always reconsider it at a later date.
I mean, hoping to get a grant's one thing, getting it's another thing. I think
Yeah.
Eric's been pretty successful so far,
But
but,
we know it won't be $12,000.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if the grants are reimbursement grants, because and you're only going to get 50% of what you spend, in which case,
Right.
you can cut it to 6, but then you only get a $3,000 grant.
Right.
Then we have to come back and move 3 over to catch that. Is that a big issue?
Well, the way I always looked at grants was you figure out a way to fund it. If somebody's going to pay for half or more,
Oh,
find a way to figure it out.
Always, yeah, no doubt. You get a little free money involved, you better get in there. But I'm saying,
Up to something
if
you
the
wanna do.
free money does, if the grant money doesn't cover the full 12,000, if we cut it to 6, and we get a grant for, only for half of what we spent for 3,000, we're still 3,000 short, we could move over at a later
Yeah,
date.
yeah.
We could get the cameras and make it whole without having that hard number in, the full hard number in for the cameras. Or we put the full hard number in for cameras and move excess if he gets a grant over to, general fund.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, I would go for fund the 12,000 for the cameras, and I am sure if Eric gets a grant, that money will funnel back in to,
Almost there.
because he does it every year.
Yeah.
He turns in money that he doesn't use.
Well, if he doesn't, we'll call cops. We can wait and
But
say
the
that.
car, I think we can hold off on the car. It's nice to have new cars, but
So
if
no
you got the
car-
money,
Leave
No
the
car in
12,000
the cameras?
Take the 7.
that's what I think. That's,
Take the 7 out.
we'll take the 7,000 out,
Add it over there.
Where we at over
keep the
there?
12.
And let's see.
I'm at 190.
We had that 7 on?
609.
So the one that isn't on there, you cut an employee, you're probably
198.
talking $30,000.
30,000.
Oh, yes, you did bring that up.
I'm sorry.
You
You
cut
said
an
you
employee,
got
you're
an
probably talking
employee.
$30,000.
That's what the mayor said, an employee car and cameras.
So right now, we wouldn't actually be letting anyone go, we just wouldn't be replacing.
We would not be
them all.
replacing at all.
So it's not like we're affecting,
Somebody's liable.
if somebody's livelihood that we already have in our family.
Right.
All I know is Eric's very adamant about keeping the same number. That's the last thing he said he would want to cut.
He's been through it with me, and I don't completely understand their scheduling. And I know he'd like to have the 2 officers on all the time, and I don't know with 9 if you can do that, or actually with, I guess, 7 out on the road.
Sheriff's Department's right here, too.
I don't know, but one thing that I keep going back of in the back of my mind, and I ask him all the time, is, are we big enough to really have the need for supervisors over 2 other people? I know you got 2 sergeants, I think, usually, and then you got 2 officers under each one of them, or that would be 6. I guess maybe there's 3 people. I'm not exactly sure how those squads or however he splits those up. But I know there's sometimes where there's, a lot of times where there's 3 people on. And I don't know why sometimes that supervisor over those other 2 can't just be the other person. And again, I might be talking way out of tune because I don't know how they schedule exactly. But I know there's a lot of times where there's 2 people on and a supervisor over them.
How do we compare, I mean, I don't know, to other towns, like that are 4,000 population? I know some of the small towns over in Illinois, you know, that are 2,000 or 3,000, they can have the police force that we have.
Or again, I hate to play devil's advocate on myself, because, or you know, you're adding a full-time employee at the Welcome Center, and you're cutting somebody, public safety.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I mean,
On
you
face
even go back
value.
to, when you have this discussion, we go back to the fire truck. How much public safety, you can't have too much. There are always, I mean, you just can't. But where do you draw the line at, I guess, is what
Or do you want to
reason.
go back to the Welcome Center and go back to part-time? I don't know what her contract even was. I mean, go through this every year when we, Sanders, I didn't see a contract.
She didn't have a contract.
She's full-time.
I know.
But she's an hourly employee like I
What
am.
about her contract?
I thought that Stephanie had a contract.
What would that have to do with her getting another
Well, I don't know, but I
full-time
mean,
employee?
you know, their job description is,
Well, they have a job description,
yeah, job description.
but
Yes.
job descriptions are just going to
Well, to take a step forward, again, and I'm saying things that,
She got beat
do
up.
you keep, is it the city's responsibility to keep a TV station on the air and cut a policeman? I mean, you can come up with all kinds of scenarios if you want to.
I don't know. I don't have enough
How bad do you want
information.
streets? How much chest beating is gonna go on next year about we need streets?
Yeah, I don't have enough information as far as how many people they actually need. I couldn't make that decision tonight.
Well, Eric's given us his recommendation.
You know,
Well,
as far as a person, I couldn't do that.
we can kind of table that one if you want to stay after the meeting tomorrow night. Eric's be glad to come by and talk to you about it.
I don't know if that would qualify as a personnel issue, or I guess it would.
I think, wouldn't it, because we don't want
It's a
to,
budgetary issue.
would it be a personal issue because of discussion on how many police officers on duty at all times and
I
those
would
kind of
think that
things?
would be,
I'll have to
And if we're
talk with Frank on that.
if we're talking about reducing
That's this year.
headcount.
We don't want, that's one thing we don't want to do.
Well, my feeling is on that full-time welcome center, she's been on the job for 2 months and she's going to get a second full-time.
No. She's just taking the person that's been working part-time and
That's what I mean.
converting her to full-time.
I mean, she's been on job 2 months and she wants to promote a part-time to
How many
full-time.
months do you think she ought to be on the job to make that decision?
Well, I'm not ready to give her the key to the city. I hope she does
She
a
did. I think
wonderful
let's
job.
stay right on top of it.
And in Sanders' defense, this is not a new, this thing, Stephanie asked for the same thing last year, but she wasn't willing to consider how she could amend her budget to fund it.
Isn't there a tourism board that asked for that?
Yeah, but, they're just advisory.
well, yeah, but that's what we have them for.
They can't do that, they looked at the budget that she submitted and endorsed it to you, recommended it to you. Well, we're not able to do that budget. Sanders said my highest priority is to man the Welcome Center and make sure we have quality people and somebody who can handle the computer work, and we have somebody there who can do that. And she said, I would like to be able to keep that person, and I will find the money in the other areas. So she has reduced the level of spending in the Welcome Center
She's self-funded this position.
to do this.
Well,
And she hasn't sacrificed marketing, which is, number one, but she was able to find printing money, and she's gonna do janitorial supplies herself. I mean,
she's got a good
she
employee
did
that
it.
does a good job, and she wants to keep, and if she
Okay.
doesn't, that employee's going to go somewhere else. If they're not, if they don't.
So, I don't know, I'm sitting there like I'm defending her, but I think she bit the bullet to do this.
Yeah, I recognize that you're really trying to get part-time employees at the lowest possible wage. That's kind of what you're going to get. And we need people down there that can run the computer, that can talk on the phone,
The
and
problem is that she's not gonna be able to come back next year and look to unless we have, growth in revenues, and look to refund the things that she cut this year in order to do it. I mean, this is a
long-term.
long-term decision, not a short-term.
And that part-time person is going to leave and go somewhere else, if they're not,
Well, Teddy, might be a good idea, because it's a biggie, let's talk to him on it.
Okay. Are we on building?
Okay, these are, Brenda, I cut back Brenda's travel, about $1,000, and that, she can live with that. That survey number was kind of she said, we really don't have a good handle on our flood buyout property and where the boundaries are. We have people disputing over where the boundary line is. We should have it surveyed. Well, okay, maybe we should, but we don't have to. So I took that out.
That's 7,000.
Go ahead. So we can add that over.
I mean, I think it's a good idea, but I just,
Well, I
Thank
think
you.
better,
now, this next year is the right time.
What's our total, Sue?
206,609.
So that just gets us to a $200,000 carryover with no street improvement.
well, you got that
No,
82,000.
we gotta take out
transportation
the
fund.
request.
You built up to 82,000.
Okay.
So you basically have 88,000, if you want to stay at the 200,000 that we can use to do $88,000 worth of this work.
Which one are we on?
We still don't know where they stand on the insurance. I mean, what happens if that didn't project it as, the employee insurance?
No, but I don't, it won't be,
How much
we
money?
budgeted a 10% increase on liability, our comprehensive liability insurance rate, and 10% in the health. Our current health insurer proposed a 27% increase, which we're not going to do. So we went through the process of filling out and re-enrolling all of our employees so that the agent can shop our insurance group to other companies. Their preliminary report to us was a 6% increase with one, a 9% with the other, and a 13% with another. But they didn't have our census, they didn't have the actual people we're going to be insuring. With that knowledge, we're going to we think it's going to be in that 10%.
Okay.
So we think we got it covered. I also think that the casualty and liability and inland marine and all the other insurances that we carry will be in that 10% range based on that conversation that I reported to you at our last board meeting with, maybe I did not report at this board meeting, with Midwest Public Risk Pool. They're workman's comp insurer, they're also looking at our other lines, and it should stay in that 10% or be less.
Okay, and that 10% is already figured into the...
It's already in the budget.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about taking additional money out to try to cover that.
And maybe, it'll come in better, and we'll be able to come back to you and say, hey, look, let's...
Okay, and we have how much money left over in excess for streets, for the roads?
You've got $6,000 over the $200,000 level, is that right, 206?
206,609.
Assuming you want to stay at that $200,000 level, and we've got $82,000 in transportation fund, which has to be spent for road or road-related work.
About 88 and a half.
Okay,
That
so
last
about,
figure,
so about
that's the net
88.5 that
Yes,
we
it's
can
from
look at
our
roads.
the dedicated funds we get, money from the county, the road and bridge.
If we want to carry over 200,000,
So
or
that's in,
about 200,000.
Pardon?
that's in.
Is that right? Okay.
Pass this out, I mean, it needs to go for discussion, I don't want to miss it, and if it's zero, it's zero, if it's, those are just the numbers that they run. So,
Would you like to have paid employees to leave the room so you can have this discussion? Get the press
hell,
coverage.
it's gonna be in the papers.
Well, I don't know. You might feel more comfortable doing it without us sitting around. I don't know.
Okay, so it's going to cost us, what, 10% more for insurance, health insurance, and everything like that?
But
It's
That's what
already
we
in the
budgeted.
budget.
I don't know that it's going to.
Okay.
might be 6, might be 13.
The way I look at it, that's a raise right there. They're still getting their insurance free. We're paying, the cities are paying additional 10% to give them free insurance. To me, that's a raise. It's benefits, pay and benefits.
I just totally disagree that it's not a raise. It's staying even where they've been, because that's how the benefits have been. And I'm not gonna have much discussion on it. I'm in favor of 3% increase and $50,000.
Okay, the 3% comes out of this money.
General, it comes out of the.
Comes out of the road money. It comes out of-
88,000 that we
Right.
figured out.
Right.
Well, I'm not agree,
So we can't really take all that.
against the pay increase, but I think we're pretty generous paying the spouses and the children's insurance. I worked
Well,
at
they
Mississippi
take-
Line for the last 10 years of my working there, and I had to pay for my family and kids if I wanted them covered. So I think that's pretty generous that we're picking up
My
that.
son-in-law has to pay for part of his insurance now. That was part of the benefit package. He didn't get a raise, it cost him more for insurance. You know, I'm sorry, but insurance is going up so much, and insurance is a very important part of the family now.
Well, I agree with
You
you.
want to have insurance, good insurance.
We looked at.
And we
what
keep good
impact
insurance.
But you wonder how many spouses are working that have the insurance, and, you know, I'm not opposed to giving them a raise, but I think it's pretty generous to give the families the insurance benefits.
But that's nothing more than they've had.
Well, I agree, but then they've gone up 7%, 10% or whatever. I don't know that there's a company in town that pays their employees, families.
My company does.
Great.
100%.
Our
Like I said, I
company
didn't like
used to, they used to, but then they have asked us to participate a little bit more each time. They do not
It's
pay
going to that.
for
I
our
mean,
spouses
gotta go with that.
and children.
it's just too
They pay
costly.
for employees only, and at a reduced cost for them.
I think we're showing the public mixed signals here. We are cutting departments, cutting everything to get some money for roads, but then we're willing to take that money and give dollars raises.
And you don't think that our employees deserve a cost of living increase every single year?
You know, I thought I did too, but I didn't get one the last 2 years.
I want to ask you.
You know,
I want to hear
I'm
from
sorry.
you. Do you believe that our city employees should have a cost of living increase every year, and it's just got to work in the budget, or no?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I agree with you, Teddy. I think if you eliminate some of
I
their
think sometimes
insurance,
you don't get
and
it.
give them $1 an hour raise, I mean, I think we're very generous by giving the spouses and the kids, paying their insurance. I'd probably be surprised if many towns do that.
Just throw them into the Obamacare umbrella and hope for the best, huh?
Well, that's
Well,
what
we're not doing that. I mean, we got our insurance. We're paying for the insurance and everything, but there's no guarantee that you work in the city that you get a raise every year.
There's
There's no
no guarantee that
guarantee.
anywhere, that's not what I'm talking about. If you know as well as I do, if everything next year is going to cost, according to where you want to live or wherever you don't want to live, a general cost of living increase is 3%. And many corporations take that as their base, and they give a manager, okay, this 3% works out to $100,000. And I don't care how you give it to your employees, but it's got to be based on your performance reviews. And it should be from 0 to no more than 5%. So the average would be 3%. Based on your review, the manager should have the authority to reward the people that are doing their job as expected or exceeding their expectations, and to show the people that aren't, hey, you did a raise for a reason. So it's just a simple thing of what, I just think that to get good employees, keep good employees, you have to take care of them. And if you don't want to do that in the budget, that's, everybody's got their opinion, that's just mine. I really have anything else to say about it.
I agree with you, Tom. I think our employees deserve a raise. But can we give the raise?
Yeah, we can.
We can. After we beat up the other departments to get some money for roads and everything, but now you're ready to turn that money
Yes,
over to
absolutely.
the
I'm
employees
pretty sure
instead
that
of roads.
I'm sure that every department head would be happy that part of what we took from them goes back to their employees and themselves.
Well, you know, Chicago and Detroit thought the same thing, you know.
I agree.
Just give it,
No.
look where they're at.
We just
I
need to
can tell
make
you,
a
I've
decision.
been, for the last 2-3 weeks now, I've been testing a lot of city employees for the city of DeSoto that are leaving because they haven't gotten raises in the last few years.
And we're talking about 1 year, I don't know, maybe
And
next year we can give them a good
We're not
raise.
exactly overpaying any city employee. You know, Alderman
Can I, maybe it's something I don't know if we looked at, but Donnie, going back to your point, maybe it's, I don't know that you're certainly not going to come up with 3%, but your point, you two are probably going to shoot me, I'm sitting between you, but
I don't blame you.
Back up.
if you took the insurance and you looked at, I think I always felt we were very generous on what we participate on the family side of it, and because it's more than double what, I think, more than double what the individual is. And that is, I think in today's economy, I think you might be an exception to the rule, because I think
We're certainly an exception, I realize that.
most places, it's not like that. I don't know if there's a way that you can maybe look at that, and I say, let the people that are doing that, or that have the family plan, absorb a lot of the costs as far as the increase in the insurance, and maybe there's some room on that to be able to fund some of this. I don't know, I don't know if we've gone that far to do that, but maybe that's something that we could look at to come up with any of the difference. I don't know if there's enough money there to do that or not, I really don't, but on the other side of it, I know you listen to Eric, and one of his reasons that we can attract police officers, although we still seem we seem to be a training ground for them to go to other cities or bigger cities, but one of them is our benefit package that we do have, so that's a downside. And if you add that to it on the family side of it, and what they are getting the benefits there, it certainly is an attraction to recruit people, but I think our people deserve something, and if there's a way to get around it, some people, if we looked at it and had them participating more on the family plans, they may end up losing in the long run versus any kind of raise they get, but maybe it's a more fair way of looking at it, I don't know.
And that, to expand on what you just said, that's the reason our company, we pay 100% of our employees' health care, is because just a few years ago, when we got health care for our employees, and we looked at the cost, and if we would have presented to our employees, you have to pay this much to have insurance, they just wouldn't have taken it, right? They just wouldn't have taken it. They wouldn't have paid that money. We, in my small business, feel a moral obligation to the people that work for us and make us money to take care of them. So, as a city, our employees work for us. They work for everybody in town. And I think we have a moral obligation to do the best we can. And maybe that's not giving a 3% raise. But when we start talking about reducing insurance and benefits, I just personally feel like we have a moral obligation to do everything we can. I said that when this meeting started. The last place you look for money is in employee headcount and benefits. I think there's other things in there, right? There's other things. Now, also,
It's not that we're cutting their pay or taking away their insurance. I'm just saying we're paying 10% more to me, which is a raise.
I don't see it as a raise.
We're keeping their insurance like it is.
Is we are paying 100% of the employee, and I think it's that other side of it that is really expensive that I think is worth looking at to bring us maybe more in line with what the community would expect, I think.
Well, I don't have a problem looking at any of it, but
To pay 100% of the employees' insurance these days.
it's
It's rare.
incredibly rare. And I realize-
That's rare, but then to pay 100% of the family.
But
We're not paying 100%.
No,
We're paying a
just
little bit, but
because-
it's not much.
So just because our cost goes up and we pay it, you see that as a raise to the employee? They're not getting any added services.
They're
just not going backwards.
keeping their same
just not
insurance,
going
same
backwards.
cause. They're not going backwards, which a lot of people are doing today.
So if the federal government decided they were going to cut all federal retirees' pensions by 10%, or the cost of insurance is limited, so you guys got to, not you guys, but everybody that works for the government has got to pay more money.
Which they're already doing.
Yeah.
So, we're paying more.
Well, I mean, it's just, I understand, Dick, what you're saying about the plan. I just have more of a, I just think that insurance is so important for people, and the cost of it is incredible. I don't understand the new regulations coming, but obviously the government doesn't understand the regulations either.
Now, a couple of years from now, we might have a better sense of what our options are relative to the affordable health care.
Right now, it's-
I haven't a clue.
I really want to hold our city employees to an extremely high standard. I mean, I have great expectations that they become efficient, that they work safely, and that if they provide services to the city residents. I have a hard time having those expectations if we're not getting the best quality employee we can get, keep them. If we don't have them, we need to replace them. If it's a big issue, and I have high expectations, and I see things every day that just make me pull my hair out. That's what happened. That's what happened.
Mayor,
It's just a big
isn't
issue.
there, I think the rates based on the deductibles also? Is there any kind of,
Yeah, we're looking at various plans to try and keep our increase down by adjusting deductibles. And we're not going to have the same insurance program that they've had. I mean, we're just not.
right,
Because I can't keep it at that 10% and provide that same level of service to them.
yeah, I know that's what happened at my work. you
So
know.
deductibles are gonna go
Deductible went
up,
up quite a
co-pays
bit.
are
Our guys have big deductibles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is
What
it?
we have is they won't go bankrupt if their kid breaks their arm, or somebody needs their kidney out.
You know, another thing we're going to look at is kind of self-insurance. You know, you can get your premium way down if you double your deductibles and then only fund those that kind of exceed some level. But you made up more than that. But it's a risk because you're kind of rolling the dice that every employee isn't going to go over their deductible, but history suggests that they won't. So just lots of permutations of that, but none of it's going to result in a reduction.
Can we ask, I mean, can we query the employees and ask them, you know,
You want
how
to
about,
raise?
you want to raise, you want to raise, or you want to pay more in insurance? You know, or what, but we don't want to get like Social Security, they give you a raise, then it costs you more for Medicaid, or Medicare, so you lose money.
Well, you know, if you give it's all money.
It's all just money.
It's just
That's a
money,
place
yeah.
where just money.
But I mean, you give them a raise, you make them pay for this, and it comes out. And so don't give them a raise and don't make them pay for that, then they net the same.
And
It's all kind of, at the end of the
that's
day,
silly.
what does the employee have to buy groceries?
That's silly.
And that's what you got to figure.
We need to take care of our people the best we can.
When have they had the last raise?
Last year.
Last year?
How much?
They've had a raise,
It was three, how, you
as far as I
did exactly what Tom
They've been
said.
a raise every
It
year.
was 3%, and I allocated it based on my employee evaluations, and not everybody got the same thing. Nobody got more than 3%.
That's
2%. Excuse me.
2%. But the year before that, there was a raise too.
The year before that was 1.5, and the year before that it was nothing.
Okay?
So at $10 an hour, it's 15 cents. I mean, if you put it in perspective,
Then it throws you in a higher tax bracket.
there you go.
And then you actually lost.
You gotta sell your
3 cents.
Ferrari if you get that.
Yeah.
All right, on this, where did this sheet come from?
The mayor asked us to, or just,
From Susan? How come water and sewer are on here? Do we have some control over that? or-
a portion of the staff's salary is allocated to water. So
There's like 4 people that come out.
Carl is 50%.
Okay, I see.
and She's 15%.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking. And then, has somebody done any investigation on COLA's, cost of living?
It's 3%.
The cost of living went up 3% last year, January
No, I think
You talking about,
this year's
No,
report.
This year's report.
you ain't talking about consumer price index, are you?
No, I didn't say
What's
cost of living.
I know, but there is, sometimes raises are based on the CPI, aren't they?
You have that information there?
I thought I did,
I was just wondering what that was. But it's believed to be 3%.
That's a report I remember.
yeah,
I see.
that was like the
Okay, that's
last
good
thing
enough
we got
for me.
off of their website.
I'd like to have people just stand in line and work for the city. Because of benefits and all.
They do, don't they?
No, not exactly.
Well, we've had openings,
Qualified people don't
The
stand.
highest caliber people available.
That's good,
You
Steve, thank you.
know, you did report to them now, or put it out. You know, we're lucky, honestly, we didn't, we got Carla, that was like huge. But, you know, we talked to a lot of people before we got to her, and I would not have been able to perform at that.
we had a lot of people, that's what I was getting.
Yeah, but not people you want to hire.
Well,
And that's the same thing that Senator is facing in tourism.
Yes.
She's found that person that she feels comfortable and confident in, that there's value there.
She wants to keep her and to make her full-time, so she does keep her.
so we're gonna do this tonight?
Probably won't change.
Well, I mean, I'm going to recommend that we agree to stay tomorrow night after the meeting and discuss with Eric that situation, and perhaps you can also
Yeah, we
discuss.
sleep
What
on this.
honestly, you guys sounds like some minds are made up, what more discussion do we need?
Oh, I don't care, I'd go with 3.
I would too.
I would,
I'm not.
then should we wait till tomorrow night?
It don't have to be unanimous.
No, it won't be. It'll just be,
We gotta have a majority, one way or the other, don't we?
and we do have an alternate.
Okay, so at three, if you guys go at 3%, so you're looking at, what, $30,000 out of the 88, so we got, what, $50,000 left for streets?
Well,
Yeah, it's kind of,
not true.
yeah, well, it all comes out, but I mean, the 82, actually,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be spent on roads.
Can't mess with that.
Yeah,
So it's going to come out of the general fund,
up here.
and it will either,
28.4 of that was just what the park.
you know, could be,
Yeah, good point.
You know, and we left 20 in for dump truck, and we've made decisions based on discussions, and I'm happy with every decision that's been made. But that's when I was preached not to do it across the board, you know, because it's never healthy. I think everything we discussed, everybody's had a chance to talk about it, and there's been a general consensus. This was the most productive budget meeting I think we've had as far as actually getting something done. I think the information's good. After we figure
a
out.
little hard to understand, maybe.
Well, but it's.
Now we got a handle on this paper.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go home with
good, I think, once we got it figured out.
I always know to eat before I come to these
You
meetings.
know, I didn't get like this, but now investment, I need to protect.
All right, so we're gonna discuss it tomorrow.
All right, so we're going to agree to hang around after the meeting tomorrow night,
Agree to
continue
agree.
this, at least as it relates to the police.
Yeah.
And salaries, and then we're, I mean, think about if we're going to have money, which of these is the most important to you? I mean, did Dave give you his rankings? It's up to you guys, you'll decide what we do with it.
I got it right.
6 and 7 is the Alliance engineer, is that right?
Yes.
Well, it's broken, let's.
And yeah, the discussion won't impact the budget. It's going to be, how do we take the monies we budgeted and use them to our best advantage for water systems?
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Channel 798.
Thank you for watching Channel 7 and 98.
Hi, thank you very much for watching Channel 798.